This is the problem that we see in most political discourse. It's not two people listening to each other, it's two people speaking at each other. Vast swaths of this country vote one way or the other. Millions of people. To not listen to millions of people is what's causing division in our country. I'm Stuart Fletcher with Living Room Conversations. We are a nationwide nonprofit that seeks to build bridges and bring communities together through guided conversations. Today, I'm going to be going through the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, talking about where they may or may not break our conversation agreements. Our conversation agreements are 6 rules or guidelines that help foster meaningful, respectful conversations. These guidelines have been put together by dialogue experts that recognize different pain points in ways that people communicate and how we can avoid them. These 6 steps have proven to help living room conversations bring people together regardless of their differences. And we want to see if the 2 presidential hopefuls use constructive dialogue or destructive. Let's begin.
My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses.
Right off the bat, the first thing that I notice is that Kamala Harris is focusing on her own experience, drawing on the woman who helped raise her and the small businesses, trying to connect back to that authentic self. This is within our conversation agreements. One of our most important agreements is be authentic and welcome that from others. So far, Kamala Harris is doing a pretty good job.
We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. And they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics.
An important thing to notice is that debates and conversations in general aren't all about what you say, but how you listen when somebody else is speaking. We call that off the mic behavior in a debate. And during what former President Trump was saying, Kamala Harris expressed some problematic off the mic behavior, small little scoffs or exasperated expressions. It can be hard to listen to somebody who you feel is lying or misrepresenting the truth or even trying to antagonize you. But it's incumbent on those who are willing to put constructive dialogue first to try to maintain a listening and respectful composure, even while what you're hearing you may struggle with.
I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
The concept that we have so much more in common than what separates us, something that Kamala Harris represents here, is actually very pivotal to our work. It's very important to recognize that even if we disagree on lots of policies, more often than not, our values are actually in line. Most people want to have safety. They want to have freedom. They want to have the opportunity to exercise their pursuit of happiness. And we just sometimes disagree on what that looks like in action.
The only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people.
So far during this debate, former President Trump has used a lot of restraint in his off-the-mic behavior, which is actually uncharacteristic of him throughout the many debates and televised interviews we've seen. But just there, you see his little mocking face, showing that he's not respecting Kamala Harris and he's not giving her the authentic listening ear that we would appreciate at Living Room Conversations.
They should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs, but those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars.
There are little markers of disrespect and not listening. The little shift in Donald Trump's eyes, the pursed lips that Kamala Harris has, and her constantly shaking head. These things are clear indicators that neither of these people are trying to listen to what the other person said. All they're trying to do in this debate is represent their position and wait for an opportunity to refute, rather than trying to understand what the other person is saying and trying to find solutions somewhere in the middle. This is the problem that we see in most political discourse. It's not two people listening to each other, it's two people speaking at each other. Vast swaths of this country vote one way or the other. Millions of people. To not listen to millions of people is what's causing division in our country.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
You're a liar. You're a liar. She's lying. He's lying. How can we have a dialogue if we won't even assume the best intent of those speaking to us? How can we try to understand one another if we assume those that disagree with us are liars? Now, there are lies. There are people that lie, especially in politics, and how we discern who's a liar and who's not, that's difficult. We're living in a space today where people have different silos of truth, where people are staying within a bubble of what they consider to be the end-all, be-all facts that are contradictory to other people's bubbles that say the same thing. The only way for us to see each other as trustworthy is to connect as people first. Put the issue second. Worry about the minutia of policy second. But if we can connect with each other as people, understand our upbringing, understand our values, understand our dreams for the future and our concerns for our country. If we can put people as people first, then we can discern who are liars and who are telling the truth, and we can work together as a country.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Presidential debates often set the standard for political discourse across the country. We're a country of over 300 million people, the third largest by population, the fourth largest by landmass in the entire world. We're a massive country full of great diversity of all kinds. People's lives are nuanced and complex. And if you spend even a second talking to somebody honestly and openly, willing to listen to them and show them respect, you will learn multitudes about who they are, what they value, and how you can connect with them. We invite you to sit down with those people that you perceive you disagree with those people that you fear or that you demonize, and have a conversation. Our resources are designed to help these kinds of conversations happen. We have structured guides across a variety of topics, from everything from abortion and gun rights and immigration to just respect, humor, hope, forgiveness. These kinds of guides are designed to facilitate an experience-based conversation, where we talk about how we came to know what we know, how we came to feel what we feel, rather than debates about facts and truth and lies. Go to livingroomconversations.org and find a guide that interests you. Thank you.